Unnusakut tungmasugitsi. Good afternoon. Bonjour. Before I begin my presentation, I just want to acknowledge the little boy because when I was sitting there listening to him singing in his language, it took me back to the years that I was growing up. So I wanted to recognize him for, and being brave to come up here and sing and drum his song in his own language. It just makes me realize even more that things that happened in the past are behind us now. And we are moving forward and allow young people like Kissis to be able to come here and express his own culture and his own language. So I just wanted to thank his grandmother, Shirley, for bringing him here. Heads of mission, members of the Canadian Club of Ottawa, dear guests, before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe peoples. Land acknowledgements are a way to show respect to those who have been on this land since time immemorial. Gestures like these can lead to greater understanding and respect between peoples, no matter who they are or how they identify. This is a lesson we can all take to heart and one that can inform our discussions today on International Women's Day. I would like to thank the Canadian Club of Ottawa and the Women's Head of Diplomatic Mission for inviting me to address you today. Merci pour votre invitation. On International Women's Day, we celebrate the accomplishments of women here in Canada and around the world. In every field and industry, women are contributing. They are innovators, champions, advocates, artists, entrepreneurs, public servants, and many more. Je suis heureuse de célébrer avec vous les nombreuses contributions des femmes au Canada en cette journée internationale des femmes. We have many women in attendance today, women who are actively building a better world and a better country, women who are creating opportunities and pushing for progress. And we have other allies with us, those who are working towards gender equality. So it is a privilege for me to be here with you all today. Women in leadership play a vital role in shaping a more inclusive and equal society. The importance of women in leadership cannot be overstated. Women who bring different perspectives, diverse voices, and lived experiences to the table, which can then contribute to more inclusive decision-making and problem-solving, will help build a better future for all of us. Women leaders also serve as role models who can inspire the next generation of women and girls to strive for excellence and pursue their aspirations. Gender should never limit one's potential or ambitions in any field or industry. Throughout my career, I have seen women in leadership inspire and mentor other women, helping develop skills, build confidence, and navigate career challenges. Personally, I have been inspired by many of you in this room today, and I know that you have been mentors and inspirations for so many throughout your careers. It is very important to pass down our knowledge to the next generation and to invest in the future of women and girls. I often think about women that inspired me during my 50 years working on Indigenous issues. I always think of my grandmother, who was a unilingual Inuit woman. She embodied perseverance. She lived a nomadic life. She didn't have an academic education, but she was full of knowledge, and she passed that knowledge to my mother and to myself and my siblings. I can tell one very short story about why I say that. Many, many moons ago, when my mother was still a little girl, 8 years old, there was a severe shortage of animals disappeared one year. No caribou, no whales, no seals, and that's what they depended on for their livelihood. And they hunted every single day. So one day they were going to starve, and at that moment or on that day, my grandmother's brother took them on a sled and put them out on the land further than where the other families were. And my grandmother had to keep everyone alive. Her mother was there, my mother was there. My mother was not allowed to get out of bed because she would be using too much energy. And the perseverance and the never give up attitude that she had, she had a little hook for fishing. She used to go out onto the sea ice every day, and she would fish until she finally caught a small cod. And that's how they survived. So I mean, it was a very difficult year for the people in the Arctic, but it was a time when everybody just put every energy they had into their life to get through that period of time. So here I am today talking to a room full of women. As Governor General, I want to use my position and my voice to help others to shine a light on some of the issues still impacting women and girls, particularly in the area of digital respect. Years ago, I would often be the only woman in boardrooms. I would find myself surrounded by men, overlooked, ignored, and underestimated because of who I was. Other times, they would talk down to me as if my opinions didn't matter, or as if I didn't understand the issues at hand. I had two choices: sit down and take it, or stand up and be heard. I stood up. I spoke up. J'ai choisi de parler et de me faire entendre. It was necessary for Inuit and other indigenous peoples, and it was necessary for every woman who would come after me, every woman who would be in these rooms and who deserved to be heard. The cause of reconciliation, healing, respect, and understanding was too important for anything less. Today, with so much of our lives happening online, attacks have evolved and expanded from the boardroom to digital platforms. Social media provides spaces to share opinions and ideas. But as with any technology, the impact on society depends on how we use it. It is one thing to offer a different point of view or perspective, but when comments become personal and hateful, and in some cases violent, that is where we must draw the line. More and more, we are seeing racist, misogynistic, and violent anonymous comments online. These comments particularly affect women, especially women in leadership positions and racialized women, Indigenous women and girls who are experiencing increased harassment and abuse. We see the stories, women who leave their positions as a result of the overall decline in respectful discourse, notably on social media. Women everywhere have been targeted, myself included. On m'a ciblé comme tant autres femmes l'ont été. Since the beginning of my mandate nearly 3 years ago, I have been targeted of online personal attacks. It was not my view or my actions being attacked. I was attacked as a woman, as an Indigenous person, and unfortunately, this is not an isolated issue, but a pervasive one, affecting women and girls from all walks of life. These attacks are not harmless. These attacks are not harmless. They silence powerful voices, discourage participation in public discourse, and create a climate of fear and insecurity. For me, these comments were having a direct impact on my mental health. It was important for me to speak out about this issue. So I decided to use my platform and my voice to shine a light on my experience and the experiences of other women who have similar stories. I did so because I wanted people to understand the impact that online abuse has on leaders and future leaders. For many in these positions, too much time and energy is being spent on defending themselves from abuse or misinformation. This cannot continue. As I said, we are seeing women leave public service and choosing to step away at a time when we need more women in leadership positions, not fewer. It is heartbreaking. Young girls who witness these awful attacks on women leaders may reconsider their aspirations to become public figures, or they may decide to stay silent. This would be devastating to our society. We need a diversity of voices who can share different points of view and share the challenges faced by every identity and every community. It is vital for women, for men, for the 2S LGBTQI+ community, for Indigenous peoples, for all peoples to have a platform, to have a voice. Only when everyone has access to equal rights and opportunities can we build stronger, more peaceful and prosperous societies. Quand tout le monde a les mêmes droits, on peut bâtir des sociétés plus inclusives. And so, I am standing up and speaking out. Over the last year, we have done what we can to raise awareness. This includes shutting off the comments on our social media platforms after months of personal and hurtful attacks. Not an easy decision or taken lightly. Gathering women heads of mission and many others for a discussion at Rideau Hall on International Women's Day last year. Some of you here were with us today and were there and will no doubt remember the passion and emotion everyone spoke with. And we are working to bring together different groups to speak about the need for digital respect. Some of you may remember the video we released on this day last year, sharing some of the worst comments I received on social media. We struggled with whether to release it, whether it would give more attention and reach to those who were spouting the vitriol. En publiant cette vidéo, nous avons encouragé plusieurs femmes à partager leurs histoires. Vous n'êtes pas seuls. In the end, I am glad we did release it. as it encouraged so many other women to reach out to our office, share their experiences, and voice their concerns. It showed me that I was not alone. There is strength in that unity. What we can do now to continue to raise this awareness, or what can we do now to continue to raise awareness? What can we do to care for ourselves and others? Maintenant, que devons-nous faire pour éduquer la population et préserver notre santé mentale? We know this is a complex issue, one that requires sustained effort, collaboration across sectors, and a long-term commitment. We are inspired by countless women who are already speaking out, despite the threats they receive. Women and other allies who are using their platforms to advocate for change and who are refusing to be silenced. But when the load becomes too much for one person, or when those threats expand to reach children and families and whole communities, there is no shame in seeking out help. It takes strength to ask. And help is out there. Demander de l'aide, c'est faire preuve de courage. Des ressources et de l'aide sont offertes. For the past year, I have been encouraging people to build networks of resilience. This takes two forms. The first is a support system for those struggling. This could include family or friends. It could include coworkers or others who have had similar experiences. Find and create a trusted circle where you can share freely without judgment, where you can feel safe and supported, where you can rebuild your sense of self and your confidence. Above all, you must make sure to care for yourselves and your families. Je vous encourage à bâtir votre propre réseau de résilience. Trouvez des personnes à qui vous faites confiance et qui vous soutiennent dans les moments difficiles. The second is found in collaboration. We must work together to minimize the impacts of online attacks, to acknowledge each other's experiences, and to identify or develop solutions. This is something we can all work towards. The solutions will come from all of us working together, learning about what others are doing and applying to our own lives. It will come from women, men, and gender-diverse peoples, everyone who are allies. It will come from gatherings like this one, where you have the opportunity to speak to others, to see things from a different point of view. It is important that we approach this issue with a broad scope and with many differing perspectives. We will arrive at solutions when we are inclusive in our discussions and decisions, and when we understand that different communities may have different problems. I encourage us to find allies as we confront this challenge. Women, men, people of all identities and ages. We need you all to speak up. It is through this awareness that we can and will find an environment with digital respect. L'éducation nous permet de créer des milieux où le respect en ligne peut croître. For my part, I will continue to tell my story and to shine a spotlight on this issue. I will also continue to promote the creation of networks of resilience, connecting women and allies with each other to keep this conversation going. Next month, for example, we will be holding a Digital Respect Symposium at Rideau Hall, where people from all experiences and all walks of life will gather to discuss this important issue. Le symposium sur le respect en ligne vise à rassembler des intervenants à Rideau Hall pour discuter de cet enjeu important. I encourage all of you to speak up and be part of the solution. Together, let us build a better, safer, and more equal world for all women and girls. I wish you all the best on International Women's Day and for the future to come. I encourage us to continue this important work. Nakukmiro medyo nga iliw na sinik ta kanigon nakatsi pimmarimik pinaswaktoy na wata aknaw suta aknay pinaswagangit pimmarealugi hakme mata ataw tsikut angutinik aknanidlu pinaswakatahaktareya haktugut. I'm just saying this in my own language because I always say a few words in my Inuktitut language, which is the first language I spoke growing up as a child. And the last thing I said was that it is very important for women like you to be involved in this together. And it's important for men and women to work together on this very important work. Poursuivons ce travail essentiel. Thank you very much. Merci. Nakormik Mikwich.